time, because you can take tires off and put them on inside a 17.5-second pit stop. Apparently the car was extremely low on fuel. There's 29 laps left in the race. Could be a battle of the pitmen. Back to you, Jim.
Okay, Chris, and the leader at the moment is Rick Mears. We'll repeat that, the defending champion, driving a very heady race, as he always does. Last year, out of a possible 2,600 miles he could have driven on the racetrack, he completed 2,591, only 9 miles short of completing every lap.
That is an incredible figure of consistency. It represents his talent in driving. It also, of course, represents tremendous talent by his pit crew, the car manufacturer, his mechanics, and really this is what you have to do. You've got to finish before you can win. And it's amazing that this young man, at the age now of only 28, is as maturity as he is mentally, because he does drive in a very cool, calm and calculated way. It would be very simple for him to get carried away with it all. This man doesn't get carried away with very much either. He's a very straight shooter, and he's got a man who's very unflappable in the pits with him, Jim Hall.
Look at that crowd. You see that shot?
Beautiful shot. Wonderful. This is such an impressive event. I come from all parts of racetracks all over the world, and, you know, it always amazes me, this place. It gives you goose pimples, as the boys said down in the other part of the racetrack earlier, and as far as I'm concerned, it's a tremendous event.
Rick Mears with a 22-second lead. Now, he's got to come in for fuel, but he should be able to do a quicker pit stop than that with the kind of a crew he has under Roger Penske. We might repeat, too, as we said earlier, that the last person to repeat. We got another fire in the pits, and again, it's Hurley Haywood.
My
two fires from today in the pits.
It's tremendous. You know, he has been burned. I can see he's got burning there in the lower part of his overalls. You know, you can't see these flames of these alcohol fires, so therefore the driver sits in there, doesn't know he's in fire until he feels the flames burning him.
Oh, look at this, slowing down the only four-time winner of this race, A.J. Foyt, who has never been a factor at any time today.
Well, disappointing, because he is a competitor. He always wants to do well, and when he retires, he's never happy. He's never pleased. He's a man of many moods, and right now I can't believe he's in an awful good mood, because as you say, he's never really contended the lead today.
That smiling picture you saw up there was obviously taken earlier. That's not the way he feels right now. Rick Mears still out there with a big lead at the moment, but remember, he must make a fuel stop. Rutherford behind him has already made his final stop. The lead has been chopped down by 2 seconds, so that means Rutherford still... Now the yellow comes out. The yellow comes out for the tow-in for A.J. Foyt. He finally stopped on the race course. So things get even more interesting. Here is Sneva, who's in second place, in a quick stop, not only for fuel, but for tires, under the yellow.
Well, he's running second in the racetrack. This is a good pit stop. He's off. He's being pushed out. A bit of a slow pit stop, actually, in the final press there. He seemed to sit for about a second before getting back on. But as it's under the yellow, it's perhaps not so damaging to him. But I expect that this time Rick Mears will come in, and surely he does. Now, let's have a look at this. Remember, Bobby Unser came in earlier and took fuel in only over 6 seconds. It's the same crew, not the same mechanics, but basically the same crew. Now, he's not taking any tires on. This is just fuel. They're taking the lines round. Rick Mears sitting in there, knowing that he's got a shot at this race. Look at the time there, and he's going out in 10 seconds. He's on the racetrack.
Okay, see if he can hold on to the lead. Rick Mears going back onto the race course. There's Rutherford in car number 4. And they're still under yellow, of course. Let's get a report on the Pancho Carter situation right now as A.J. is out of the race from Bill Fleming in the pits.
I'm with Johnny Cables, the crew chief of Pancho Carter. John, according to our calculations, Pancho would actually be second had he not been penalized. What happened?
He was waved by the pace car, according to our communication from the race car to myself. The pace car was just building up speed. They were below the yellow line, and they waved him by, so he came around and closed up, and then we pitted, and now we're being assessed a lap penalty. As far as our lap count is concerned, we're on the same lap as Rutherford, got 22 leading laps, but they're not giving any of this to us. They're going to use the pencil and erase one of our laps by penalizing us. So if we go the distance, which we hope we do, I guess we're going to have a real Donnybrook in judging and scoring, because he was asked to go by. The pace car was slow and below the yellow line. When the pace car is below the yellow line, it has not pulled out in front of the pack yet. And the way we understand that is the pack can go until it arrests the speed of the pack.
So you would protest?
Oh, yes, we're going to have this thing. We're going to talk about it for sure. I've scheduled a meeting with the stewards as soon as I was notified of this. We'll just have to see what comes. We're not asking for anything for nothing, but we've been racing real hard today, and we're second and third beyond any doubt, but not with a one-lap penalty being assessed against us.
So it looks like there's going to be a protest. A.J. Foyt out of his car. The day is over for the four-time winner of Indianapolis at age 45. The yellow at Indianapolis in the closing stages of the race. Johnny Rutherford has taken the lead again. You see the yellow still out. Let's go down to Chris Economaki with A.J. Foyt.
What's been the problem?
Well, the biggest thing, we got a valve that didn't have about 43 damn easy. That's the biggest damn thing wrong all day.
You don't like the rules, huh?
Well, it's bull. If you want to run taxi cabs with anybody driving, they ought to hire them. This ain't no race. This is a damn taxi cab race.
Okay, as you can see, four-time winner A.J. Foyt is not a happy man this Memorial Day.
Disgruntled, you might even say. But here comes the green flag out with that race to the checkered flag. Johnny Rutherford first. Tom Sneva second now. Rick Mears on that pit stop has dropped back to third. Rutherford's going to be tough to catch because remember, he's got tremendous power in that car.
Well, he's got a car that handles apart from anything else. Power-wise, remember, you're looking at a car that's got about 600 horsepower. By the way, that car in the lead there, as it would appear, is young Tim Richmond. He's just been passed, but he's a lap down. And there you see the man who's in fact leading the race clearly, the yellow car number 4 from Texas, built, constructed, designed, prepared, and looked after by the great Jim Hall, a great innovator to motor racing in all formulas. He's done all sorts of things in sports car racing and everything else. Now he's attacking the Indianapolis 500, nearly won it last year. He's now leading it in the closing stages, and there is the other yellow car. That's Tom Sneva getting through there, and there's Rick Mears, who went into the pits there, did a fast fuel stop there, got out without using any rubber at all, and you can see that's Rick Mears there, car number 1, carrying the championship he won for the kart group in the year 1979 after winning this Indy 500 last year.
Just in case A.J. Foyt left any question in your mind as to what he was talking about, he was criticizing the rule which limits the boost to 48 cubic inches this year. He'd like to have about 60. And you heard he was not only critical, he was furious about it. All this taxi cab racing. Well, not exactly taxis at 189 miles an hour, but slower than A.J. would like and slower than a lot of the experienced drivers would like.
Yes, they like to have excess power just to be able to handle the cars and to be able to use the talent that they've honed and worked on for so many years. And that's what power does, because normally these cars can be pumped up to 800, 900 and more horsepower. And when you get a car developing 900 horsepower, let me tell you, Jim, it feels fantastic. When you put your foot down going onto that back stretch, it gives you a kick in the backside like you've never felt before.
Johnny Rutherford stretching out that lead. The only question now might be, Jackie, can he make it to the finish with the fuel he has, because they measure it almost to the eyedropper full to the finish line.
It's not only that, you know, he's got to finish with a car in one piece. I remember I was leading this race with only 10 laps to go in 1966, driving for John Meekum from Texas also. And there's Rick Mears coming into the pits. This can't be scheduled. Rick Mears is coming into the pits.
And so the Penske cars, one by one, have been having their problems. First Mario Andretti, then Bobby Unser. Both of them were leading the race when their problems came up. Rick Mears not leading now, but he was in a strong third place. They're changing the rubber.
He's changing outside rubber, and he looks like he's changing inside rubber at the back as well. There may be a tire problem for him. He may have a puncture. He may not be sure which one it is, and therefore he's being sure to change all the tires as an insurance policy.
Okay, being pushed out. Rick Mears underway, but his chances of winning this race have all but vanished now. It is Rutherford leading and Sneva second. There is the leader, John Rutherford of Fort Worth, Texas. A report on the Mears situation from Chris Economaki.
looked like a strategic error, was not in the Roger Penske pit of Rick Mears. The question, of course, arises, why didn't they change tires when he was in a little while ago for fuel? Well, he didn't need tires. But after he went out, he got a flat left rear tire and had to come to the pits, and it's going to cost him valuable money and position. Here's Rick Mears' tire, and you can see the little pinhole that cost him in the pits there, blowing out of the hole there, and that's why he stopped to change tires. Back to you, Jim.
Simple as that. Even as you and I, he got a flat tire in the Indianapolis 500.
You can get it on the road, and you can get it in the racetrack. He has to leave the pit lane. There's an awful lot of racetrack there. It's 50 feet wide right there where you're looking at it, and just anything can be picked up. And of course, these racing tires are very thin. They're very conscious of the weight. But look at this crowd on the right-hand side of your picture there. And there's Johnny Rutherford's wife, Betty. She must be getting tenser and tenser and tenser.
No question of that. Interesting that the car in the lead right now started on the pole, the fastest qualifier. The car in second place started last in the race.
Isn't that amazing?
Started
That's
first and last, now they're first and second.
Tom Sneever's in second place.
There he is.
That's him right there. Tom Sneever, look how close he runs to that wall, Jim. Even this close to the end of the race. I'm always impressed by that. That wall always frightened me. That's the relationship there. That was Johnny Rutherford, and now we're picking up Tom Sneever.
Okay, getting closer and closer to the inexorable finish here at Indianapolis. We'll be back. 4 laps to go at Indianapolis, and Johnny Rutherford is looking more and more like a winner, trying to win his 3rd Indianapolis 500. A battle for 3rd place here. Gary Bettenhausen being pursued by Gordon Johncock. They're out of your picture now, but here, let's pick them up again. Yeah, well, here they went. They're standing on Gaius in the black car. He's in 7th place, but he's a lap down. A good battle for 3rd. Well, here they are. Okay, that's Bettenhausen in front, Johncock behind him. Battling for 3rd place behind the leader, Johnny Rutherford, in the 2nd place car of Tom Sneever. Only men to have won this race 3 times or more have been Louis Meyer, Wilbur Shaw, Maury Rhodes, Al Unser. They all won it 3 times, and A.J. Foyt, who has won it 4 times. If Rutherford wins today, he'll join very select company. Again, the battle for 3rd and 4th place. You know, last year, the difference in money, for example, between 3rd and 4th at the end of the race was about $25,000. We understand it'll be even more this year. So this is not just for pride.
But it's a lot of pride involved here, and Gary Bettenhausen really wants to be able to do it. Gordon Johncock, of course, has won this race before, but Gary Bettenhausen would love to finish ahead of him right now and pick up that extra money. It would be tremendous for him. He's such a nice man. He's 38 years of age, and as I say, he's had a lot of sadness. His brother very badly damaged. He's been damaged in motor racing. His father lost his life in motor racing. It's interesting that his crew chief, Paul Leffler, is the father of Greg Leffler. It's a great motor racing family in this sport, particularly in Indiana and particularly in this form of racing.
No question. Incidentally, if Tom Sneever should finish second, excuse me, Jackie, he'll be only the 5th man ever to finish second in this race 3 times. The others be Harry Hart, Wilbur Shaw, Bill Holland, and Jim Rathman. Interesting point that Wilbur Shaw won the race 3 times and finished second 3 times. 2 laps to go now. Still that battle for 3rd going on. Remember, Rutherford is way out in front. No problem for him at the moment, and it looks like he's going to win and win easily. 2nd place, Sneever, he's all by himself. But the battle for 3rd is going to be going right to the checkered flag between Gary Bettenhausen, still in front of Gordon Johncock. Johncock might be saving a NASCAR-type slingshot move, perhaps.
I bet you he is. I bet he's thinking a lot about it right now. He's really filling the mirrors of Gary, and it seemed that he closed right up right there, and he got a little bit loose also. These cars, when they get loose, it means that the back end slides out a little bit, and when they don't have that surplus power, it's quite easy for them to get loose and, in fact, spin out, and that's Danny Gaius who's shadowing there, so that you'll see, but he's 1 lap down, so he's well out of the way. We're waiting in Johnny Rutherford right now because he's such a long way ahead. You'll see what the difference is. This long straight in there.
Here's Johnny. There he is. Coming up to take the white flag. Should be the white flag. Yes, 1 lap to go for Johnny Rutherford. And the Indy 500 will be over for 1980. This the final lap. And still the battle going on for 3rd place, remember. It's going to be Rutherford the winner, unless something very untoward happens. It's going to be Tom Sneever to finish second. And who's She's going to finish third. Betty Rutherford has to be doing a little praying.
She's praying. I saw the rest of the team as soon as he passed there on his very last lap. Everybody turned, as we saw from our commentary position here, and looked away from the racetrack, just saying, oh, please, 2.5 miles more. Johnny Rutherford now, he knows. In fact, even if his engine stopped now, the chances are he could coast the rest of the way. It looks like his fuel is holding up. It looks like he's got enough gas in the tank.
He's got it all right. You can hear the crowd, the roar growing from 380,000 people as the checker flag is given to Johnny Rutherford of Fort Worth, Texas. He has won his third Indianapolis 500. And Betty can relax and let it all go now.
Mrs. Jim Hall congratulating her also. Jim Hall, cool as a cucumber, hasn't really shown much emotion as I look out.
And here comes Tom Steva in the back there in the yellow car. Oh, it's some guy has hit the wall, but the battle for third is coming to the finish line. And John Cox making his move. Oh, how close together. A matter of no more than a foot, perhaps inches between those cars. But Bettenhausen, I believe, held on for third.
Tremendous finish. Here's the man who won it. But Danny on Gaius, the last corner of the last lap, hit the wall. I think it must have been concentration or something. But there's a man who's very happy. Hand in the air. Johnny Rutherford waving to everyone already. Seems to have taken his driving glove off. And look at this. That is young Tim. Yes, Tim Richmond has stopped. He's waving.
Rutherford stopping. Apparently, he can't be stopping for Richmond.
He's in fact going to give him a right back. He's waving to him. We're talking about, you know, AJ Foyt was talking about a taxi service.
Yeah.
There's the most expensive one you could find.
It's a yellow cab. So Tim Richmond, you know, just has a way of getting in the spotlight. He may be the oncoming A.J. Foyt in that way. All the month of May, this rookie at age 24 is always in the picture. He had a fine finish here. We would imagine would be the rookie of the year.
Well, he's finished ninth, and this might be one way of getting into victory circle prematurely.
Rutherford seemed to enjoy it just as much, the two of them shaking hands.
And he's lifting the hand of Johnny Rutherford up and pointing. Number one is Rutherford. Young Tim, he must be looking forward to that one day.
Well, the crowd got all they could have asked for today. Magnificent racing, no serious injuries, some spectacular sights to see, and a very worthy winner in Johnny Rutherford of Fort Worth, Texas at age 42. Betty will be waiting in victory lane, so will be Bill Fleming, who will have a word with the winner for us as it's pushed up in here for the traditional bottle of milk that they give at Indy instead of champagne as you're used to in Europe, Jackie. But Rutherford has done it again. Stay with us to meet the winner.
Johnny, is the thrill as great for the third time as it was for the first?
Oh, I tell you, Bill, it never dies. You know, the thrill is always there, no matter how it comes. The 500-mile race is a great challenge, and by golly, my team rose to the occasion, and the car did the job, and I'm just really happy.
Betty, how about you? Is the thrill still there?
It's the same every time. It never gets old, never.
You know, John, it looked at one point late in the race, maybe with 60 laps to go, as if the car wasn't handling exactly right, and you made an adjustment. What was it?
Well, we made the adjustment a little earlier than that, you know, but it's we got the thing working better. We raised the front wing, and it seemed to be pushing a little bit out there. It got a little oily. You can see from the front of the car, the oil on it. Some cars were dropping a lot of oil, and it became a problem.
Now, in your estimation, having been out there for the full 200 laps, was there any particular reason why we had so many incidents?
Well, I think it was a case of, I think it's the 48 inches myself. You know, it gets so exasperating setting out there and not being able to go because you don't have the power. The cars are designed to go faster and safer, and I really feel like if they had 60 inches, who knows? You know, that's sheer conjecture, but I think maybe it would have been a little safer.
How about you yourself? Was it as hard a race to win with 48 inches of boost as it was, let's say, with higher boost earlier?
Well, with a car like this, you know, it was not easy. But
tired?
But it wasn't that hard. I'm pretty tired.
Okay, Johnny, congratulations, and you join a very select group, becoming the 6th man in history to win this race more than 3 times, or 3 times or more.
Well, we always talk to the winner, of course, but this time I think it's very worthwhile to talk to the man who remarkably finished second, coming from last place on the start from 33rd position, Tom Sneva. Let's go to Chris Economaki.
Hey, Tom. With a little ground effect, you'd have won it, you know that, huh?
Well, you know, we've got a good group of guys. They work awful hard, and the Bonjour people and the Sugar Right people, you know, everybody did their job, and the car's a little bit old, but they get the rules straightened around. This thing will still be a good race car. I'm real happy. I guess it just doesn't matter where we start. We're going to finish second, and that's about it.
No, Tom, back in 1957, Jim Rathman started 32nd and finished second. Now, you've broken that record. You've started in the front row, you've started in the back row. Which is better for you?
Well, I don't know. I was just as competitive from the back as we were from the front in the past, and, you know, I just wish I paid passing points, I guess.
Okay, Tom Steve, a happy second-place finisher.
This is a live shot you see behind us here. Nighttime at Indianapolis. We've run out of daylight, Chris. We've run out of time on a long, hard day at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Well, the race only lasted 3 hours, 29 minutes, and 59 seconds.
Pretty good.
That's a while.
That's a while. Let's take a look at the final unofficial standings. We emphasize final unofficial because the official results will be announced tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, and after that, the drivers have 30 minutes in which to file a protest. Only 4 drivers negotiated the entire 200-lap distance, and Rick Mears, the defending champion, finished 5th. Top rookie, number 9 position, Tim Richmond, 24 years old, out of Ashland, Ohio. And Billy Vukovich, whose dad won it twice, and A.J. Foyt, who tried to win it for the 5th time today. And Bobby Unser, a 2-time winner you see there, and Mario Andretti, who had some trouble on the 71st lap. He had won it once before. Roger Rager, driving that stock block Chevy. And Al Unser, a 3-time winner here. And bringing up the rear from Marietta, Ohio, Larry Cannon. Chris?
Well, there were 13 cars running at the finish. The lead changed hands 20 times. Johnny Rutherford, the winner, led 6 times, a total of 118 laps, times $100 a lap. You can figure that one out. Bobby Unser led for 25 laps. But the performance, there was a great one by the pace car today. 60 laps under the yellow flag, 56 minutes, 16 seconds for the first time. Don Bailey had to refuel the pace car because it traveled 150 miles today.
Price of gasoline today.
That's right. The Sunday drive is expensive. Johnny Rutherford now has won it twice from the pole position, becoming the 11th man to do it from that #1 spot. The winner's share, well, last year was $1.3 million total purse. Rick Mears picked up a check for $270,000, and if it was a record crowd, etc., Johnny Rutherford probably make more. But Dave, it's the end to a frantic but a very exciting month here in the state of Indiana.
And it's not over yet because, as we said earlier, we always have a little bit of controversy at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The controversy this year, Pancho Carter being penalized a lap for, well, they say he passed the pace car, and that's not to be done. He's upset about it, as you'll see in this interview that he did earlier this afternoon with one of our ABC colleagues, Bill Fleming. Here's that interview.
Pancho, you've just come from a meeting with USAC. Those officials have given you a 1-lap penalty. It makes the difference between finishing 6th and 2nd. So it was obviously a devastating penalty. What was the result of the hearing?
Well, the hearing was just, we sat and talked with Bob Cassidy, who's in the pace car and directs the cars to go by and not. And he said that he was motioning for me to stop and fall in behind the pace car. And I told him that the motion that he was showing me looked as though go on by the pace car. And
where was the pace car at that time?
Pace car was just leaving the pits. It hadn't even reached the center of the first turn. It was underneath the yellow line down there, and I was up in the groove still at racing speed because I had been running second to Andretti at the time.
Right, and you were then, after Andretti pitted, actually in the lead, right?
Right, and I would have been the one they were going to pick up, but I think with Andretti pitting and the communications, it might have got mixed up, and they tried to catch me, and the motion they showed me looked to me as if it was, you know, go on by. So now it's up to us to come up with the proof, somebody with some film footage or something that shows the motion of him, you know, what he was doing.
They won't accept the still picture.
No, they said a still picture won't show what was really going on. And maybe if we could get a sequence of still pictures, they might, you know, they might go for it. But right now, it's just up to us to come up with some kind of footage that shows him motioning me by.